The film begins with two sisters, Spider and Jessie, standing in tears beside their mother Jesse's motionless body after she dies from a drug overdose. Gathering all their strength, the girls lift her body and carry it out to a shed nearby, where they place her inside a trunk to keep it hidden. Overwhelmed with grief, Jessie leans in to give her mother one last kiss, then takes her locket to remember her by. Spider tells Jessie they must keep their mom's death a secret, explaining that if anyone finds out, they'll be sent to different foster homes. She promises her sister that she would rather lose her life than let anyone separate them. The next morning, while eating breakfast, their mother's phone suddenly begins to ring. Spider sees the name Reese on the screen but decides not to answer the call. They leave for school, and Spider notices Jessie is still wearing their mother's locket, which could raise questions, so Jessie hesitantly takes it off. When they reach school, Spider once more reminds her younger sister to stay silent about what happened, and Jessie agrees. However, Spider can't keep the secret herself and confesses everything to her best friend, Alexis, leaving her stunned. Alexis worries that people will start wondering where Jessie is, but Spider explains that their mom hasn't even stepped onto the porch in months. That evening, Jessie is brought home by a friend's grandmother, which angers Spider. She scolds Jessie for accepting the ride, warning that the woman could have walked inside and uncovered the truth. Later that night, Spider goes to prepare dinner but realizes there is almost nothing left to eat. They manage to eat the small amount of food they find, and Spider comforts Jessie by saying their monthly welfare payment will arrive in 6 days. Suddenly, a car stops outside, and Spider recognizes it as Reese, their mother's boyfriend. When he insists on seeing Jessie, Spider quickly lies, saying her mom left an hour earlier with another woman in a car. The story enrages Reese, and he orders her to tell Jessie to call him before finally driving off. The encounter leaves both girls shaken, and Jessie worries that he will continue returning. Later on, Spider finds Jessie crying in the shed beside their mother's body and gently tries to comfort her. She tells her that Reese only cares about drugs, and once he realizes their mom isn't interested anymore, he will find someone else. A few days later, the welfare money is finally deposited onto their mother's card, so the sisters go to the supermarket and load up on snacks. They sit outside happily eating their treats when the cashier, Cody, comes over and snaps a photo of them. Irritated, Spider accuses him of being creepy and attempts to erase the picture, only to discover it's taken on a film camera. Cody retrieves his camera and heads back inside since his break has ended. After they get home, Jessie asks how much money they receive each month, and Spider says it's nearly $600 for all three of them. The following morning, their mother's phone rings again, and Spider ignores it once more. Soon after, a voicemail comes through from a CPS worker named Paula, who says she's coming to check whether Jessie is properly caring for her children. Hearing this message fills the sisters with fear, and they rush to tidy up their mom's messy bedroom. While cleaning, they discover a teaching certificate, and Spider explains that their mother used to work as a teacher years ago, something Jessie struggles to believe. Spider then suggests telling Paula that their mom is at a bank job interview, but Jessie points out that her car is still parked outside. The sisters hurry outside to move the car, but there's one major issue: Spider has no idea how to drive. Jessie reminds her that driving isn't much different from handling their go-kart, and with that in mind, Spider manages to get the car moving and successfully hides it. Before long, Paula arrives, and Spider tells her that their mom is at a bank interview, even though she can't name the bank. They go on about how dependable their mother is and how well she looks after them. Paula checks the fridge and the kitchen cupboards, noticing they are stocked with food. Seeing Jessie's room neat and tidy also seems to calm her concerns. After reminding the girls to have their mom return her call, Paula finally leaves. Jessie worries that Paula could come back, but Spider reassures her that they've had plenty of case workers before, and none of them stayed longer than a year, so next time it will likely be someone new. In another part of town, we're introduced to Sheriff Ben, who is looking into a crash caused by two addicts driving while high. The tragic detail is that their two young children were in the back seat, though thankfully they survived. That evening, Ben comes home and sees Spider there with Alexis, who we learn is his daughter. Spider joins them for dinner and says she plans to take the bus since her mom is busy tonight. Ben refuses to let her travel alone in the dark and insists on giving her a ride instead. When they pull up outside her house, Ben mentions that he and Jessie went to school together. He tries to come inside to speak with her, but Spider says her mom is too anxious about tomorrow's interview and doesn't want visitors. After she enters the house, Jessie scolds her, pointing out that she wouldn't even allow a friend's grandmother inside, yet she accepted a ride from the sheriff. Later that night, Spider tells Jessie she's sorry for how she acted earlier, something Jessie has never heard from her before. Jessie suddenly grows quiet and asks how long they can continue living this way. The following day, Spider goes to check the cost of bus tickets, and when asked her age, she hesitantly says she's 15. The receptionist senses she might be planning to run away and warns her that the world outside is even tougher for girls like her. She offers to get help if Spider needs it, but Spider stays silent and rushes out in panic. Later, she stops by the supermarket and runs into Cody again. He hands her the photo he snapped of her earlier, which brings a small smile to her face. He suggests they hang out sometime and take more pictures together, but Spider immediately turns him down. That night, Jessie finds the photo Cody took and playfully teases her sister, asking if they've been spending time together. Spider admits he asked her to hang out, but she declined because she doesn't want anyone digging into their lives. Jessie encourages her to give him a chance and tells her not to be so scared to enjoy life a little. The next day, Spider finally agrees to Cody's offer and goes for a ride on his motorcycle. On the way, he stops at a motel to meet a man named Dennis and hands him some photographs. They eventually reach a wooded area, where Cody shows Spider how to handle a camera and capture images. At the same time, Ben goes to Spider's house to check on Jessie, but the door is locked and no one answers. He notices Jessie's car still parked nearby, which raises his suspicions. His eyes drift toward the shed, but before he can look into it, he's called away for an urgent situation. Elsewhere, Spider visits Cody's darkroom and studies the photos he has taken of various people. She spots Dennis in one of them and asks Cody about him. Cody tells her that Dennis once dealt drugs, but after his wife died from an overdose and his children were taken by the state, he now survives by selling homemade alcohol and counterfeit goods. Later on, Spider asks Cody to let her out a good distance from her house, explaining that her mom is very strict and wouldn't approve of her being seen with boys. Before saying goodbye, Cody hands her a digital camera so she can practice taking photos, and Spider is quietly touched by the gesture. Over the next few days, the sisters try to act like everything is normal, holding on to little bits of happiness despite the chaos around them. But one afternoon at a diner, Reese suddenly shows up, furious that Jessie still hasn't contacted him. Spider tells him their mom is trying to get clean and wants nothing to do with him, so he demands the $300 she owes him by Friday. This makes their already fragile situation even worse, since they barely have enough money to survive. The following day, Spider goes to a pawn shop and attempts to sell Cody's camera, but the owner offers her only $50. With no other choice, she sadly leaves her mother's locket there in exchange for cash. The pawnshop owner agrees to keep it for 2 weeks, warning that she'll have to pay double if she wants it back later. That evening, Spider goes to Reese's trailer and tells him she has brought the money, begging him to stay away from them after this. She gives him the cash, but the disgusting man tells her to stick around, saying he'll show her why her mom was the way she was. Terrified, she tries to leave, but Reese mocks the idea that Jessie is clean and questions why she would let her daughter come alone. Panicking, Spider runs out of the trailer while he yells that their business isn't finished. When she gets home, she storms into the shed, kicks the trunk in anger, and collapses in tears. She screams at her mother's body, saying she hates her and blaming her for ruining their lives. The next day, Spider searches online and finds out she must be at least 18 and financially secure to legally adopt Jessie. That night, Jessie asks about their mom's missing locket, but Spider assures her it will show up soon. Right then, they receive a voicemail from Ben inviting Jessie and the girls over for dinner, which instantly makes them anxious. The next morning, a desperate Spider goes to Dennis at the motel and asks if he can create a fake ID proving she's over 18. He agrees and names his price, but Spider admits she doesn't have the money right now. Noticing how stressed she looks, Dennis softens and asks why she needs the ID so badly. In the next scene, Spider is with Alexis and reveals her plan to leave town with her sister. She explains that once she gets the fake ID, she'll find a job and legally adopt Jessie. Spider says she'll tell Jessie everything only after the paperwork is ready, and Alexis looks heartbroken hearing this. After the welfare payment arrives, Spider returns to the pawn shop and learns the camera has already been sold. So she buys another one instead, and when asked about the locket, she admits she can't afford it and walks away. Later, she goes to Cody to return the replacement camera, but he says she didn't need to do that and asks her to hang out again. At first she hesitates, but after he keeps asking, she finally agrees. They head back to the woods, where they take photos together and share some genuinely happy moments. The next morning, Jessie reminds Spider that her asthma inhaler is nearly empty. Spider promises she'll refill it after school, but soon there's a knock at the door that makes them freeze in fear. It's Paula again, coming to see their mother. She even goes around and enters through the back, only to find no one inside the house. Paula spots the shed and attempts to open it, but it's locked, while the girls hide quietly within. Before leaving, she warns that if Jessie doesn't contact her by the end of the day, she'll involve the sheriff. Afterward, an exhausted Jessie suggests maybe they should tell CPS the truth because she's tired of living like this. But Spider shuts her down and immediately runs off to find Dennis so she can get those fake IDs. Sadly, she can't track Dennis down because he's in court that day trying to regain custody of his kids. That evening, Jessie brings up the locket again, and this time Spider confesses that she pawned it. Jessie is crushed by the truth, so Spider tells her their mom never really cared about the necklace, or anything besides drugs. Jessie pushes back, saying that even with her addiction, their mother loved them and wasn't a terrible person. Spider then recalls a time when their mom left baby Jessie crying outside on the porch, and says she would have frozen if Spider hadn't carried her inside. She also explains that Jessie's asthma happened because their mom used drugs while pregnant, which harmed her lungs. Jessie refuses to accept that and runs out of the house in tears. Soon she starts having trouble breathing, and when she grabs her inhaler, she realizes it's empty. Moments later, Spider finds her lying unconscious and immediately panics. She dials 911, but when told the ambulance will take time, she decides to drive Jessie to the hospital herself. Doctors rush to treat Jessie but won't share any information without a parent or guardian there. Not long after, Ben, contacted by the hospital, arrives and speaks with the medical staff. He then tells Spider that Jessie is going to be okay, and Spider breaks down crying. She blames herself for not refilling the inhaler, but Ben gently reminds her she's a sister, not a mother. When he asks where Jessie is, Spider stays silent and only begs him not to separate her from Jessie. Later, Jessie is released from the hospital, and the girls spend the night at Alexis's house. That evening, Ben tells his wife he checked on Jessie, but she wasn't home, and the CPS worker mentioned she's been avoiding contact for weeks. His wife suggests letting the girls stay with them for now, but Ben explains it's complicated. There are over 70 kids waiting for placement, and the odds of the sisters being kept together are extremely low. The next morning, Ben drives them to school and tells Spider not to stress, promising he'll track down their mom. After he leaves, Spider tells Alexis they're leaving today, and Alexis gives her some cash before they say an emotional goodbye. Spider hurries to Dennis to pick up the fake ID, then quickly collects Jessie from school. Soon after, they reach home, and Spider starts packing in a rush, confusing Jessie. Jessie asks what's happening, and Spider finally tells her they must run before authorities take them away. She explains she now has an ID showing she's 18, so they can start over somewhere else. But Jessie refuses, saying she doesn't want to leave her friends and school, and that they can't just abandon their mother's body. Their argument grows intense, and in frustration, Spider slaps her sister. Suddenly, they hear a car outside, and Spider quickly locks the door. It's Reese, who forces his way in after breaking the door open. He traps Spider against the wall and reveals he knows their mom is dead and that they've been collecting the welfare money. He says he'll keep quiet, but only if they give him $200 every month, and Spider reluctantly agrees. When he asks about Jessie, Spider claims she isn't there, but he suggests they have some fun, revealing his true intentions. Spider tries to escape, but he grabs her, until Jessie bites his ear, and he knocks her unconscious. And then everything changes? After some time, Jessie wakes up in Spider's arms, and Spider tells her Reese has left. Jessie says she doesn't want to run away anymore, and through tears, Spider says it's okay and apologizes. In the following scene, police cars arrive at the house, showing the girls have finally told the truth. Spider asks Ben if she did something wrong, but he tells her she only wanted to keep her family together, and that's not wrong. A few days later, Jessie's funeral takes place, and the sisters place flowers on her casket while crying. Cody later stands by Spider's side, offering comfort as she mourns. Later on, Spider holds her mother's locket, now recovered, and discovers a photo inside of her and Jessie as babies. The film closes with Spider putting the locket around her neck, suggesting she has forgiven her mother and found a sense of peace despite the pain. If this movie made you feel something, subscribe and let's experience more unforgettable stories together.